Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about a really fun practice, a really fun spiritual practice. If you feel like money is not in your favor, money is not your friend, you don't have enough, you don't ever get to play with it. So this one is, I guess you could call it the prosperity game. You can call it whatever you want. But it has to do with increasing your mental capacity of allowing money in and allowing yourself to dream about spending it. And like I said, it's a fun one. It's a really fun one, and it gets to be a difficult one sometimes. So what you're going to do is you're going to find an old checkbook. It can be one that you still have an account, or I have so many closed accounts and I don't know why I still have the checks around, but I do. So I just use an old checkbook from a closed account. But you can also get online, I don't know where, if you Google prosperity checks or if you Google blank checks, something like that, you can also print your own checks from the Universal Bank of God or the Bank of the Universe. So here's how it works. In this prosperity game, on day one, you start with your register. I don't have a register. Those I never hang on to, but you get a register. So I just use a blank piece of paper or even my computer, depending on how you want to keep track of your checks. If you are a computer person, you know, putting it in a spreadsheet would be great, or in a separate QuickBooks account, or just keeping a ledger on paper is fine too. So deposit into your bank account $100. And then you get to spend that $100. So you actually write a check out for $100 or several checks totaling $100 to whoever you want for whatever you want. Could be for groceries. So at this stage of the game, it really might be the basics. It might be your electric bill. It might be some firewood. It might be a trip to the grocery store. But anyways, you actually write out that check for totaling $100 to somewhere. And that's day one. Day two, deposit $200. And then spend $200. So write out the checks totaling $200 for that day to whoever you need to. Here's the thing, is every day you have to spend all the money that you get. Day three, it's going to double every day. So day three, you get $400. And you're going to write out $400 worth of checks. Who are you going to spend that $400 to? Are you still covering the basics, or do you get to go to a movie, or get to take a weekend trip, or go out for a nice dinner? You decide. What happens with that $400? Day four, though, you get $800. So the universe is giving you $800. You have to spend it. How are you going to spend that $800? Can you give any to charity? Are you going to make donations somewhere? Are you going to give it to a relative that needs some help in school? The next day you get $1,600, and then $3,200, and then $6,400, etc. Hopefully, if you can do the math to do your checkbook, you can do the math to double every day. Eventually, you're going to get to $1 million that you have to spend every day. How would you spend it? And the thing is, while you're doing this particular spiritual practice, really take the time to think about, how would I spend that money? Because eventually there comes a point where your bills are covered. Your house is paid for, you know, your phone is paid for, your internet's paid for. So how would you spend that money? This is to help open up our mind to a space that we're not always struggling, and we're not always capping ourselves at the money we need to spend. So what I mean by that is sometimes we think, I just need enough to get by. And a lot of us think that. I have to work hard for this, and I just need enough to get by. I just need enough to pay my bills. But you know what? Maybe that's why that's what you have, is just enough to pay your bills. What if you had an extra $100 a day? Extra. An extra $1,000 a day? What if you had an extra $1 million? And you don't have to figure out where the money's coming from. If you can accept and allow the space in your head and in your heart that you are allowed, it's your divine birthright to not only just get by, but to be comfortable and to do what you want and to be able to give to who you want to give to. So in that space, if you're willing to allow that to happen, the money can come from many, many, many different ways. We don't even know all the ways the money can come from. Do you know that I went to Kenya last year? One of my trips to Kenya. I had just bought a house, and then 2 weeks later I went off to Kenya, and I came back and there was $3,000 waiting in my mailbox. I was not expecting it. It was from a source. I had no idea that I would be getting it. Sorry, there's an eagle right outside my window. It's a good sign. You don't know where the money's going to come from, and you don't know how much, but it can come. It can come. It can come. I mean, that's all I can say. That's, it can happen. You just got to do the practices, because it happens. I am here to tell you it happens. So allow your brain to actually think, yes, it can happen. It can happen to me. I deserve it. How am I going to spend it? I allow it to come in. How am I going to spend it? I deserve to do more than just get by. Don't you? Don't you deserve more than to just get by? Okay. So, prosperity game. If you could do this for a year, you'd be spending millions and millions and millions of dollars. And do you know that there are people that spend millions and millions and millions of dollars every year? So don't think it's impossible. Think of the good you could do with that if that's what you want to do. I hope you enjoy this. I hope to see you in other videos about other spiritual practices, because this is how we create a better life for ourselves. Thanks, and have a great week.